let's go to our friend Beimnet Abebe from Galaxy Trading. As always, Beimnet, welcome back to Galaxy Brains.
Thanks for having me.
It's a strange day today because these attacks on Fed Chair Jay Powell, are they culminating here now? What is happening? This is just as we started recording on Wednesday.
Yeah,
the 16th.
so, apparently Trump spoke to congressional Republicans about firing Powell. He's also apparently already drafted a letter firing Powell. I think the rationale they could potentially use to fire him, given that there's no precedent and apparently they don't have the legal authority to do it, is, his misappropriation of funds for the Federal Reserve renovation that's
has been
happening.
going on for a long time, that
Correct.
renovation. Because he needs they think under the law that he would need to fire
Just
Jay for cause.
Correct.
And not lowering rates isn't cause.
Correct. And so it is really, I think about it as like crossing the Rubicon of Fed independence when a president, basically can replace a person that isn't replaceable and will replace him with somebody who is more aligned to his political and economic viewpoints. And the beauty about the Fed historically has been that it's operated in an incredibly independent lens. And, I think Powell has done a tremendous job, and his legacy will be a great one. He is the Fed chairman that took the U.S. through COVID. It was a crisis like nothing we've ever seen before. He implemented global FX swap lines. He implemented loan facilities. During the regional banking crisis, you had the BTFP. Basically, every step of the way, the Fed had responded in a way that calmed global markets and kept things moving in a manner that benefited everyone. Yes, he's made mistakes, but so would anyone in that seat, and it's really hard to operate with imperfect information and with a level of uncertainty that we haven't seen historically. And so, I think it's a little bit of a sobering moment, and I think the market reaction to these rumors is quite telling, right? You've seen Eurodollar go from 116 to 117 pretty quickly. So the dollar generally is getting hammered. That's partially a function of interest rates moving lower in the U.S. because, whoever Trump appoints will likely pursue a more dovish path. But long story short, rates are bid and, they're rallying. Equities have been moving lower as well because of, the increased uncertainty. And the dollar's weakening and gold is rallying. And to go along with that bit, Bitcoin's initial reaction was higher as well. And I think that's largely the trends that will stay in place if we continue down the path of firing Powell.
Yeah, I think you said crossing the Rubicon, obviously referencing Julius Caesar bringing for the first time the military that he controlled as the general into Rome proper, which sort of is seen as the last point of no return for the death of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. And it does feel, President Trump, both in his first term and so far in his second term, has bashed the Fed chair and the Fed and tried to influence and call mostly for lower rates, always for lower rates. Yeah. But actually removing him would be, for what everyone knows, is because of the president's view on where rates should be, and not because he's just figured out the Fed reconstruction project, the buildings renovation, has been going on for years.
Yeah, I've never known a construction project that comes in under budget. That doesn't seem like a reality. And also, if you budget $1 billion for something, by the time it's completed, the money's devalued by at least 4% a year.
Yeah.
Right? So, are you accounting for that when you're even doing
that's a good
it?
point.
And so it doesn't make any sense to me to fire somebody for a building project and it's not even his primary job.
Agreed. And you had seen, we don't know if that's right. We don't know if in the supposed letter that's the cause that they're citing, but you did start to see over the last week the president and his proxies and allies and other members of the administration start raising this as the issue, which did look like sort of laying the groundwork for saying that maybe that's the cause they need.
Yeah. And personally, if you want to fire him for cause, do it. But don't besmirch his name on the way out, because he, for all intents and purposes, is a patriot, a card-carrying Republican, not even a Democrat. And he's doing his job to the best of his ability. And, when I say he's doing his job, it's the entire Fed board, right? There have been very few dissents in his entire term, right? And so he's been able to build a consensus amongst a diverse group of intellectuals, right? And he's operated about as well as you could ask for. Obviously, they were a little, late reacting to the inflation stuff.
So was everyone, right? Everyone was wrong about that or whatever.
I mean, there were some people that were like,
no, but I mean,
you can't print this much money.
All the central banks, though, kind of all missed.
But I will tell you, I've never met a good inflation forecaster over a long period of time. Yeah. It's so hard to predict. And it's even harder to trust how the data figures that you're looking at. And so there's a whole lot that goes into it. But, I think he's been an excellent public servant.
And also it was Yellen who, as Treasury Secretary, had said it would be transitory. I don't think the Fed specifically said that. Yeah. And also the pushback, by the way, on central banks having not predicted correctly the inflation pathway is happening globally. I think I read that in Australia there's a whole inquiry into the Australian central bank about why they were wrong, quote unquote. And I do agree. I think for the most part the answer is it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And I also agree with your point that this Fed and Fed board led by Jay Powell has tried really hard to do the right thing and has mostly done a pretty good job. Right? Look at the U.S. economy. It bounced right back in COVID. It's been strong since.
Stock
for the most
market's
part.
At all-time highs. Unemployment's at 4.2%, right? They have
CPI came in soft, right?
They are meeting their congressional objectives.
Yeah, their statutory mandates with pretty much low unemployment. Inflation has come down after the spike.
Yeah, absolutely.